If you need to make a website, like right now, this tutorial is for you. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a WordPress website from scratch quickly and easily. And this is a beginner's tutorial, but we're going to be using professional tools, and they might not be as hard to use as you might think. You're not going to need to know how to code or really how to do anything on the web. I'm going to show you exactly how to do everything. And I know what it feels like to need to make a website and have no idea how to do it. And maybe you're even overwhelmed because you've been researching it and trying to figure out, and everything just seems so complicated. Because I have been in your shoes. And that's actually why I started making these tutorials online, is because there is just so much information, so many complicated things that just aren't necessary for making a great website. And I'm going to show you how to do it easily and still using professional tools. I'm Tim from realwebsitehints.com, and it's my mission to help you find the best and, most importantly, easiest ways of building great quality websites. I want to make this tutorial as useful to you as possible, so down in the description below, I've broken everything out into chapters, so if you don't need to see a certain section, you can just skip that section and skip ahead. Or if you want to come back to something specific that you didn't understand or that you want to redo, you can go back and forth easily and find just the information that you need. So let's take a quick look at what our website that we're going to build is going to look like. In this example here, I am starting out with a restaurant website because I know a lot of you out there need to build a restaurant website. And so to start out with, we've got this very basic version here, something that you can get done very quickly. So if you have a limited amount of time, you can put this website together very quickly without much fuss. And then after we've built this one basic page and you've learned the basics of how to build a page, we're going to go through and we're going to fill it out with some images like you see here. We're going to change the background color, and we're going to add some other elements to make this page even more elegant. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the tools that we're going to use to build this website with. So the first tool is hover.com, and I've got a link to Hover down in the description below. And if you use that link, it helps to support this channel, so I definitely appreciate that. And the reason why I've chosen Hover to get your domain name with is because it's just no fuss. They give you a domain name, and the only upsell they really have is to offer you an email address, which is a great value. I think it's $20 for the year. And a lot of the other companies that offer domain name registration have a bunch of unnecessary upsells, and it's a little bit confusing. Hover is very simple. The second tool is Elementor Cloud, and I've got a link to Elementor Cloud down below. Definitely appreciate it if you use that link down below. It helps to support these tutorials that I create. One of the reasons why I am so excited about Elementor Cloud is just the amount of time that it is going to save you. I was probably able to cut out 30 minutes from this tutorial by using Elementor Cloud rather than some of the other hosting options for creating a WordPress website. And the reason why is most of the time when you're creating a WordPress website, you need to get hosting, then you need to install WordPress. And sometimes hosting companies do put those two things together. But then after that, you need to choose and decide on a theme, and then if you want to make it easy to build your pages, you need a page builder like Elementor. And Elementor already is one of the best page builders out there, but you'd have to install that on top of your theme. And with Elementor Cloud, everything happens all at once. You get hosting, you get WordPress installed, you get your theme installed and the theme that you need to build your website with, as well as the professional version of Elementor. And so for website and hosting with Elementor, it's $99 a year, which is already just for hosting in itself is a great deal. And you might be saying to yourself, but I've seen hosting for $1.99 a month or 99 cents a month or whatever these crazy promotions they have. And that is true. For the promotional period, it is 99 cents or $1.99 or whatever a month. But if you look very carefully at the fine print, you'll often see that after the promotional period, that price jumps up to $15.99 a month, or I've even seen it up to like $21 or $35 a month, like crazy prices after the introductory period. So here, you're just getting to know what the price is right up front, and it is for the whole year. I definitely think this is a fantastic deal because not only is it high quality hosting, but it's also Elementor Pro, and just the simplicity of having WordPress the theme, and Elementor all installed for you really quickly. And just really quickly, some of the great features that Elementor Cloud offers is, first off, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you do this tutorial and you decide that this isn't the tool for you, it's not working out, you can get your money back. Elementor also has a content delivery network, and what that means is that the content of your website is stored on servers all around the world. So no matter where the visitors to your website are in the world, your page is going to load really quickly. One of the other cool features that Elementor has is this cloud library. So we've got all sorts of different designs that you can use as a starting place for building your website. And one of the kind of killer features of Elementor Cloud is right on the page where you're building your website, at the bottom right, there's a little help icon, and you can click on that and get direct technical support. I actually had to use this because I made a silly mistake. They weren't able to help me directly there in the chat, but a few hours later, I got an email and they solved my problem. And so if you're a beginner and you need a little bit of help, this is a great tool, and it's something that's really hard to find in WordPress, is getting technical support quickly and easily. So kudos to Elementor for offering this right in their cloud website builder. So the one downside to Elementor Cloud is that you do have to connect your domain name to Elementor Cloud, and that can be a little bit complicated. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. And again, I've got links to how to connect other domain registrars to Elementor. But that's really the only downside and the only thing that makes it a little bit more complicated. But everything else is so much easier, and it's a great way to get started. All right, so now it's time to actually get started building this website. So the first thing I like to do is get a domain name. You can also get the domain name later on, right before we connect the domain name to our website. But I like to know what the domain name is going to be. That way, if I want to use the domain name on the website in the text someplace, I know what the domain name is. So to get the domain name, we're going to go over to hover.com, and I've got a link to Hover down in the description below. And if you use that link, it does help to support this channel, so I do appreciate that. And that will take you here, and then you just need to find a domain name. So I'm going to just make one up here. Currently in Atlanta, so I'm going to use this as my domain name. And it's available, and it happens to be on sale right now for $13.99. Regularly be $15.99, so that's $16. I'm going to go ahead and add this to my cart. It gives you a lot of other options with these other top-level domain names. That's what they call the .com, .art, .org. I recommend trying to go with a .com domain name if you can, only because it's just the most recognizable. It's what people are most familiar with. You might be able to also do one like a your city name if that's something that's available in your area. There's one of the cities, but just to know that typically those may be more expensive. So I would just stick with a .com. And then we can go over to our cart here, can select how long we want to do it for. So for 1 year, if you know you're going to have this business for a long time, there's definitely an advantage to buying more than 1 year at a time. I'm just going to do 1 year because this is for this tutorial. Here's where you can add that professional level email. You can do email forwarding. So if you do already have a Gmail address, you can forward your professional email address. Like in my example here, it would be restaurantatl.com. So info@restaurantatl.com, and whatever your restaurant would be, that would be the option. I actually recommend doing the small mailbox because that will let you easily be able to not only receive email from that email address, but also be able to easily send email from that email address. And services like Gmail, actually, if you get too many emails, they'll start really slowing down the speed at which you get those emails when you do forwarding. So I think it's just better to do, spend the extra $20 a year, which is really not that much, to get the professional email. I already have email, and this is just for that example, but that's how you'd set that up. And if you guys want a video on more specifically and more details on exactly how to set that up, let me know, and I will go ahead and produce that video for you. Leave a comment down below so I can know if that's something that you guys need. All right, and then we're gonna go and head over to the secure checkout here. Just go through, enter in your billing information and all of that. So once you've completed your payment, you'll end up here, and then we just need to click on Manage My Domain. You can actually do the domain name step after you've built your website. I just like to do it before, just in case I want to use that domain name in any part of the copy on the website, like putting in your email address, for example. Okay, so now that we've gotten our domain name, let's start building our website. And to do that, we need to sign up for Elementor Cloud. And if you're enjoying this tutorial so far, using the link down below helps to support this channel, and I really appreciate it. So go ahead, click on the link down below, sign up for Elementor Cloud, and then we'll wind up here on the Elementor page. And we can go ahead and choose our plan. And we want to do the website builder and hosting, because that's just going to get everything ready for us all in one place, ready to go. So we're going to click on Buy Now here. Again, it's $99 for a year, and that includes everything you need. And then we just need to fill out the billing information here. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and fill out this form. You can do the same thing, and we'll meet back after we've signed up for Elementor. And after you've filled out your billing information, you'll end up here, and then we just need to click on Go to My Account. So this is taking us here to the Master Elementor dashboard, and this is where if you were building multiple sites, you'd see all of your sites here and where you'd manage your account from. So to start creating our website, we click here where it says Create a Cloud Website, and we just need to give it a name. So in this example, I'm doing a restaurant website, so I'm going to call it Restaurant ATL. But if you're building a different kind of business, you want to put something that relates to your business, probably the business name. So what we're setting up right now is the temporary domain name that our website's going to be at. And I'll show you later on in the video how to connect the domain name that we purchased to this website. So go ahead and click Next. This part's not really that important, but I would just click Business or Corporate Website. And with Elementor, there are a bunch of different templates that you can use to get started with. And if you choose over here, you can see all types, and then you can see all of these different templates, which can be great starting points. So here we've got an example of an Italian restaurant website. And you can see what it looks like here, get sort of a preview, check out the menu. So there's a lot of great ways to get started here, but in this tutorial, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start from scratch. So we're going to click here down at the bottom and we're going to click I'd rather start from scratch. And it's going to take a little while to set it up, but right now what it's doing is it's setting up your website. It's installing WordPress, it's installing the base Elementor theme, and it's installing the Elementor plugin. So it's kind of a lot going on in the background. And honestly, the other ways that you could do this, as I said before, just takes a long time and it's really kind of annoying. Having to get hosting, install WordPress, install a theme, install Elementor. So it's doing it all at once for us. So I'm going to go ahead and let this install, and I'll be right back after it's finished installing. Okay, so now it says our site is ready. So we're just going to click on Let's Go down here. And it has this fly-through tutorial here, which is very helpful if you're starting this for the first time. But one of the things you want to know is, again, we're building this on WordPress using Elementor Cloud. So there's several different levels to our website, and it's a little bit confusing, but I'm going to help break it down for you as we go through this, and you'll understand. But we've got the WordPress dashboard, which is what it means here when it says Open WP Dashboard. And that's sort of like the base level of our website. It's the main engine behind the website, you might say. It's the main framework. It's kind of like the operating system of your computer. And so that's the base of our website. And then on top of that, we have Elementor. And so this Edit with Elementor button is what we're going to use to actually design the pages. It's kind of like a program for designing pages that's on top of WordPress. And it says site lock is on. So if you were to try to go to that URL that was created for your website, the one that's in my example, restaurantatl.elementor.com. Nobody would be able to view it because the site lock is on. But if you click on Change Settings here, you can change the pin code, or you can view the pin code by clicking this button here. Just going to go back here to Websites over here, or you can click on All Websites here. And if you were building multiple websites, they'd all show up in here. Okay, so let's go ahead and start building our website. So we've got our website open here. Because we're dealing with WordPress and Elementor together here, we've got two different options. One is to open up the WordPress dashboard, and so that's where all of the base settings are for our website, where we'll be adding pages, adding blog posts, sort of the basic settings for our website. And then Edit with Elementor is where you're going to be editing the actual pages of your website. And when you open up Edit with Elementor, this button here, it's going to take you to the home page. So if you want to go and edit different pages, if you're creating different pages on your website, you're going to do that from the WordPress dashboard. So let's actually start by going to the WordPress dashboard. Okay, so this is the WordPress dashboard. There's a lot of information on here. These are different widgets that you can have set up to find out different information about your website. So that's something you can configure if you want to. I usually just ignore this section here and I focus on this section here. These are the main settings for our websites. So since WordPress is a blog post based system, We've got posts here if you wanted to add a blog post to your website. That's not something we're going to cover in this tutorial because we're just going to focus on making a great homepage for our restaurant, but the functionality is absolutely there with WordPress. Media is where you can manage importing and exporting media, but I tend to do this as I'm building my pages, and as I need the media, I just upload it directly during that process. Pages is where you add pages and adjust the basic settings to pages. Comments deal with the blog. Elementor, this is where you're going to deal with some of the settings for Elementor. Most of the time, actually, you don't need to do anything with this. Templates are part of Elementor, and since this is the pro version of Elementor, there are a lot of saved templates that you can use for getting ideas or as a starting place to start building your website. And down below the templates, we have appearance. This is where we are going to customize some of the basic parts of our website, and we'll be doing that later. Things like adding the main site logo we'll do here. So we're going to be looking at that a little bit later. Plugins, if you want to add additional functionality to your website, you can do that under plugins. And then users, if you need, for example, an employee at your company to be able to have access to edit the site, you can add a username here. Or part of the Elementor Pro package, and one of the reasons why I like it, is that this little button here gets you direct support for Elementor. So if something's not working properly with the install or with the building of your website, you can ask a question here, and in some cases they'll need to actually get access to your website, and so you would add a user for them here to do that. Or also, if you just needed help from anybody outside, if you hire somebody to work on your website, you would add a user for them to be able to access your website. And those are the basic settings. Most of what we're going to be doing in this tutorial is actually just building our page in Elementor, and that's pretty much all you need to do. So let's go ahead and get that started. So to start building a page in Elementor, we're going to go to Pages. And we're just going to work with this sample home page here and make it the home page that we want for our website. And then to start editing it, we're going to click this button right here that says Edit with Elementor. Okay, so this is the main editing space for Elementor. On the left-hand side here, we have all of the elements that you can add to your website. So we've got sections, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. Headings, images, all of the basic tools. One of the other tools that we're going to be using later on for the advanced section is this price list, which is a great tool for making your restaurant menu right on your website. So we're going to be looking at that. And here on the right-hand side here, this is the preview, or what our website looks like right now. So we've got this header section, and this is typically where you'd have your logo, and we'll be adding that later on, and the menu for your website, so to go to the different pages. In this tutorial, we're just going to be building a one-page website, but I'm going to show you how to link to different parts of this one page so people can click up here and have it go to different parts of the home page. And this middle section here is where we're going to be building our page, and this bottom section here is the footer, and we're going to fill that out with some basic information that people are going to be expecting about our business. So like the address, phone number, our email address, and our hours. We're going to be putting all of that down here in the footer section. But let's start by building our main part of our home page, and we'll get to these header and footer sections after that. So what we have here is this sort of main content box, and actually if we loaded our full website, you wouldn't even see this. It would just be the header and footer on top of each other. The way website design basically works is it's kind of like a series of boxes. So we've got this box section here for content, and then we can add an intersection here. And now we've got basically two boxes inside of a box. And that's the basic functionality of designing web pages and web page design layout is boxes within boxes. And so that's a good way to think about it. You're going to have one box here, which is going to be a section, and then inside that section, we've got two columns. And then we can adjust how many columns we have here if we wanted to. And then we can add another section down here. And this is great if you want to have different backgrounds for different parts of your website. You make one section and then add a new section there. So I'm going to remove those two columns so that we have just one column. And let's start out with the logo for our restaurant and the title of our restaurant. There's lots of different ways to get a logo, and you might already have a logo design. I definitely recommend for your website when you have your logo is you want to have it with a clear background. So that's going to be a PNG file with transparency turned on. That's something to look for when you're either asking somebody to make a logo for you or when you're asking for the file for the logo. You want the transparency turned on so that whatever color's in the background fills up the background and you don't have just like a white background, for example, behind your image. So to add the logo to our homepage here, we're going to drag this image element up here. And it does load very big, but that's going to be based on this information we have over here and the actual image file that we have. So to add the logo image, we're going to, over here on the left-hand side, we're going to click Choose Image. And then we're going to have this set to Upload File. If we had anything in our media library, we would also have some images here. So if we had previously uploaded things, but right now we're just getting started, so we don't have any files yet. So we're going to select Files. And here I've got actually two versions of my restaurant logo here. I've got one that's PNG with the transparency turned on, like I was saying before, and one with the JPEG. So this actually has a white background when it's a JPEG. So we want to use the image here with the PNG and the transparency turned on. So we're going to upload that. Sort of a top tip here is to add some alternate text to all of the images that you add to your website. This does a couple of things. One is it helps people who are maybe visually impaired to know what the image is about. It also, kind of more importantly, helps Google know what the image is about, which helps Google to better understand what your website is about and maybe help you rank a little bit better than another website. So putting in some alternate text here is really important. You want to be pretty honest about what the image is of. You don't want to try to keyword stuff or anything like that, but you do want to give Google and whoever might be visually impaired an idea about what the image is about and how it relates to your business or your restaurant in this example. So for the alternate text here, I'm just going to put the name of this business that we're building the website for, that I'm building the website for here, is called The Taco Shop. So I'm just going to call it The Taco Shop Logo. Or we can call it the Taco Shop Skull Logo. And you can also give it a title too, same thing. Taco Shop Logo. And then we'll click Insert Media here. So the first version of this website is going to be very basic. It's going to just have a white background, and then on our second pass I'm going to fill it in with more detail. So I'm going to leave this picture pretty large, actually, kind of the full size. So you could probably have anywhere between, as you know, like here we've got 1024 by 1024 down to like 512 by 512 is perfectly fine for this image here. Next thing I want to do is right below this, and I think it's a good idea if you can find either the font that you're using in your logo or the correct font to actually write it on the website, because again, that's going to help Google know what you're saying. Is like the more you can actually write on your website versus taking a picture with words on it, the better Google's going to understand what your website is. So to get back here to add content within this section here, we're going to click on this multi-grid button here, and that's going to take us back to the elements that we can add to our page. And we're just going to drag in a heading right here below the skull, and you can see where we get this blue bar. That's where it's going to drop it. And we're going to give our title some text here. So the text we're going to use is, in this example, the taco shop. And for the size, we're going to go with extra, extra large. And we're going to center it. And this has nothing to do with the colors of our website. So we're going to click on Style up here to change the look of this font. And so for the text color, I'm going to actually use a color from our skull logo here. So I'm going to grab the little eyedropper. I'm going to hover it over the red section of the skull logo. And I'm going to select that color there. So there we go. Now we've got the color. And then for the typography, I chose a font called Risque. It's kind of a fun look. Can adjust the size here even more. So I'm going to make it pretty big. And I'm also going to add a text stroke, so it's sort of going to outline the text here just to help make it stand out a little bit more. And so we're just going to add 1 pixel worth of that over here. So just by adjusting this here, there we go. I got the name of our restaurant right there. Now, one of the other things that we might want to do, and actually I think it's a great idea to do this, is over here where we've got this global button, we can customize these colors to the most common colors that we're going to be using on our website. So for this example, I'm going to be using this red quite a bit and probably this yellow color here. And so to do that, we're just going to click this little gear icon here to manage the colors. And then we can select our, I'm going to call this actually the accent color. I'm going to use our little eyedropper on our logo here. Grab that color again. Actually, I'm going to make this color, the primary color, be the red color because I think it's going to come up a little bit more often. And I'm going to make the accent color sort of the orange color from over here, or the sort of yellow background color here. There we go. And the secondary color I'm going to use for text, and so I just like to drag this down to be a much darker gray, just to make sure that all of the text on our website is really easy to see. I'm going to do that with the text color here also. There we go. And now these colors are going to be saved in our global colors. It's going to be really easy to find and pull up these colors again. And if you look down below, I'll include a link to some resources that you can use for developing your own color palette if you don't have a color palette already. It's sort of like kind of a design hack into how to find colors that work well together. I'm going to go ahead and close these settings here and make sure you click Save Changes. Okay, and then below this, let's add sort of a little tagline, a little bit of information about what our restaurant is all about, kind of like, you know, the catchphrase of the restaurant, or like the one sentence that you would want people to think about when they think about your restaurant. Again, we're going to go to this grid section here to get to our elements, and we're going to add a heading right below the taco shop. And we're going to have this heading here read, "The best tacos in town." And we're going to actually add the Anytown USA down below that. I'm going to center this. And just like we did with the global settings for the color, we can do the same thing for the global settings for our typography, so that we have that consistent typography look across our entire website with the fonts that we want to use. And so for the primary font, I liked this Rocket font. Choosing fonts is actually one of the more important aspects of building a great looking website, and it's something that I think designers are really good at. But if you're doing this on your own and you want some suggestions on which types of fonts look good together, I'll include some links to some resources where you can find some great font combinations. But I'm going to add this here as Rocket for the primary, and now I'm adjusting the global settings, and that's going to affect the entire website. So we're going to use Rocket for that. And I'm going to click Update here at the bottom, and then close that. I'm going to change the color of this down to a black color. And the HTML tag we want to leave as H2. Actually, we should change this tag here to be an H1 tag. Basically, this has to do mostly with how Google is reading your website. So H1 being kind of the main top header, H2 being below that, and so on and so forth. So as you're building your content, you want to be thinking about the hierarchy of each section in particular and each page, and how you want the hierarchy to look of the different headlines that you have on your page. Go back here by just clicking on the best tacos in town to get back to editing that. And adjust the size to make it just a bit bigger here. Smaller than our main heading, but a little bit bigger. There we go. I'm going to click back here on the grid. And let's add just another title down below this, where we're going to put the name of the city that our restaurant is in. And I think that this is actually a really key thing to do on your restaurant website, is to have right at the top what city it is in. Again, just a little clue to Google to help them sort of place where you are. So since this is just a fake city, I'm just going to edit over here and just say Anytown USA. And again, I'm going to center that. Text color. I'm going to use the global picker and use the secondary color there. And there we go. So now we've got sort of the top level of our website. And just one more thing, just to add a little bit of a flair to it, is I'm going to add a dividing line right here down at the bottom to divide out this section. And so to do that, I'm going to click on the grid up here to get to the different elements. And I'm going to look for the divider, and that's right here. You can also type up here what you're looking for. So for example, divider, and it will come up. So that's sort of a shortcut key to finding the different elements that you can use. I'm just going to drag that in down below there. So now we've got just this thin black line. And to make it a little bit more fun, we can actually add an icon here. And we can look at the icon library, and they happen to have a skull icon. So I'm going to use that and insert that. And there we go. We've got a fun little skull icon here to sort of separate the top section here. Now let's move on to some of the content that's going to be on this page. So for the next section here, we're going to be adding this 3-part sort of connect to us section. We've got our location, hours, and links to our social media and our email address. So we're going to build a new section here. I'm going to click on the plus icon that's in this sort of the next section here, and we're going to use the 3 columns. And now we've got our 3 columns here. We go back to our elements, and we're going to add a heading in here. And we're going to go with location. We're going to adjust that color to our secondary color. And we're going to center that. And then down below that, we're going to add our divider. And so we've just got a thin line spacing that out. And then below that, we're going to go back to our elements. I'm going to click on text editor, and we're going to add in text down below this, and we're just going to put in our address. So this is a fake address. And if you hold down the shift key when you push enter, it'll keep it from making a whole line space in between. And we're going to go ahead and allow the full line for our phone number. There we go. And then to control whether it's centered or not, we can go over here to style, and that gives us the choice between left orientation or center. So if yours was probably showing left orientation, you can go back over here to center. And let's make this a little bit bigger so it's a little bit easier to read. So again, we'll go over here to style, go to typography, click the edit, and just make that a bit bigger. And let's continue to the next section here. So go back to the grid, add in a heading. We'll go with hours. Go to style here to change this, and I'm going to use the global icon here to change this to our secondary color. Go back to content, and we'll center it. Add our divider down below that. And I'm just going to paste this in from what I've already done. You've seen how to edit and control the text. So we're going to go over here to the divider. I'm going to add in my text editor. And I'm just going to paste this in, which is going to include all the formatting that I had before, though, also. But I think you get the idea from that. And the last thing is connect. And one of the other options you have, too, is you can copy this entire look here from one place to another. So if you go over to this little gray edit column thing and you right-click on it, you can do copy. Then you can go over here and right-click and do paste. And now we've got all of that information over here, so we don't have to redo adding in the line and changing the color and all of that stuff. And then we can just delete this column here, change this to contact, and then we can delete the text element here by right-clicking and clicking delete. And then here we can add in our social media widgets. So if we click on the search here and do social, got the social icons elements here, we can add that in right here. And we've got Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Of course, you need to edit each one of these and add your own link to your Facebook, Twitter, YouTube page. And then you can also add or remove the different icons, but you also need to make sure you add that link in there. That's really important. You can adjust the shape too, so between squared, rounded, circle, whatever looks best on your website. I'm going to keep it with the rounded. And you can also adjust how many columns it's in here too if you have a lot of different social media places. And then we're going to add a text line down below with our email address. So go back to the Elements button up here, text editor, and just add in your email address. And we'll center that by going over to Style and then Center. And let's make that font a little bit bigger by clicking on the typography icon and then the size. Make that just a little bit bigger, a little bit easier to read. Definitely think that sort of the minimum size on a website like this that your text should be is 18 pixels. You just want to make sure that everything's really big and easy to read. You don't want people trying to like zoom in on their phones to read what the different things are. You just want to make sure the text is nice and big and easy to read. It's also another way of filling up some space. And then next section down below this, we're going to be adding in our menu. In this part here, I'm going to do it as if you had an image of your menu. It's not actually the way I think that you should do it, but a lot of businesses do have easy access to an image of their menu that they already have, and so that will make building this page really fast. And that's the idea here in this first section, is to help you get your website up and running as fast as possible. And then you can come back and make refinements in the second part of this video. So let's go ahead and add another section here to build our restaurant menu. Okay, so now let's add the menu to our website. So again, as I said, this is not the best way to do it, but if you already have a menu image that you can upload to your website, this might be the fastest way to do it. You can also skip ahead to where I show how to build the actual menu using the tools as part of Elementor to build your menu right on the website. But let's start with the basic uploading your menu version. So we're going to make a new section here by clicking on the plus icon here. We're going to just have it be one column, so full width here. And we're going to add in our title. So we're going to go back to the grid up here, drag in our title, and we're just going to type menu. And we're going to center this, and we're going to change this to the H1 tag because this is the start of a new section of our website. And I'm going to make this a little bit fancy, and I'm going to use my hero typography. So I'm going to go to Style up here, keep the text color the same. For the typography, I'm going to use that risque font that I was using. Make the size 75, actually 85 pixels. There we go. And I'm going to use the text stroke and set this to 1 pixel by clicking on up here. You can also slide this slider, but since I know I want 1, I'm just going to use that. And then we're going to go back to our elements, and we're going to add an image element right below the menu. I'm going to add in our image. And if you want to make a menu, Canva actually has some free layouts that you can use. They've got some paid layouts, but they also have some free layouts that you can use to develop a menu with. And that's actually what I used for this tutorial, is I made a fake menu using Canva, and I downloaded it for free. So that's a great tip for Canva. There's a lot of free things you can do on Canva. There's some paid things, some things where you pay $1 for every of their specialty images or designs that you use. And then some things you do have to pay for the monthly subscription. But it is a great resource and something to check out, if not for anything else, then just to get some design ideas from. So you go to upload files here, upload my menu file. And one of the things you'll note here on my menu file is that it is 315 kilobytes. Don't stress out if yours is much larger than that. But to make your website load quickly, you do want to try to keep the images on your website as small as possible. So if you either know how to compress that image, or if the person that made it for you can compress that image down to a smaller size, or when you're exporting it from something like Canva, if you can choose to have it more compressed, that's a good idea. And I chose PNG because for this example, for this menu, which doesn't have very much graphics on it. It's basically just text and a single background. PNG actually was a smaller size. Sometimes JPEG might be a smaller size, depends on what your menu has on it as far as illustrations and colors and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and select this menu here. I'm going to click Upload. And again, we want to fill out our alt text here. So we're going to fill it out with taco shop menu. And write that here also. And then we're going to click on Insert Media at the bottom here. And there we go. That's got the menu here, so it can be easy to see. And the reason why I don't recommend this as the main way of putting your menu on your website, it's totally fine. The problem with it that I see is that so many people are on their phones looking at your website and looking at your menu. And when you have a menu like this on your phone, it's either going to look really small or they're going to have to zoom in and scroll around and look at it, and it's just not the best user experience. Whereas if you build it the way I'm going to show you later on in different columns, people can just scroll up and down on their phone and see everything very easily without having to pinch and zoom and scroll around and make it more complicated. But for right now, for just getting started and getting this website up as fast as possible, this is a great way of doing it. So we're going to go ahead and go with that. And next, we're going to add an About section to our website. So we're going to click on Add New to add a new section here. I'm going to do 2 evenly split columns. You could also choose do 1 quarter by 1 quarter. And on the left-hand side here, I'm going to put an image of the food. So just one little image. If you have an image of like your hero dish or maybe what your restaurant looks like, you can put that in here. So I'm going to upload this image here. And we're going to click Choose Image, Upload Files, select Files. Use this image here. This image here I pulled from Unsplash. Definitely recommend for a restaurant to have images of your actual food and not doing that. But if you're doing this as practice on how to make a website, Unsplash is a great resource for images. However, the images are very small, so you do need to compress them using some sort of program. I used Pixelmator, which is a program that's available for Mac that's fairly inexpensive. But there's several different image editing softwares that you can use to get a smaller, more compressed image file. So that's something to know. And then we'll click Upload. And alt text, if this is like the hero dish of your restaurant, you'd want to give it an alt text name here. So I'm going to say, chicken tacos from the taco shop, and insert that there. So now we've got that on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, we're going to add a little bit of about information about our restaurant. And actually, you know what? I do want to add a title up above this, the about title. So we're going to drag the heading here, going to drag it. So we're going to add a new section in between here by just clicking this, drag in a heading widget, and going to type in about. Actually, you know what? We can cheat a little bit here, and we can actually delete this. And I can go up here, and we can copy this here. Or we can either do copy, or you can actually do right-click and then do duplicate. And then we can grab it here and scroll down and move it right in here. I want it to be down here, come on. I want to go here. Okay, guess I need to add a heading in here, and then I can drag this. I don't know why it won't let me drag it in there. Anyways, okay, drag that in there, delete this, and we'll get rid of this. There we go, and then instead of menu, I can do about, and now I don't have to make those changes all over again to. So then here I did a divider. I put our little skull guy in there. And then I put in some text about our restaurant. So I will go back up here to the grid, grab the text editor, Put that here until you get this big blue line underneath there. Add in some text. And then we're going to duplicate this title here again. And we're going to drag that down right here above our text. And instead of saying about, call it Taco Love. And we're going to make this a little bit smaller by going over to Style, clicking on the little pencil icon next to Typography, and we'll set that down to about 55. Then we'll actually duplicate this divider here again. And we'll drag that down below here. And now let's center this text in this section here with the image. So to do that, right-click on this gray box where it says Edit Column, and then click on the Edit Column button. And now we can do vertical align over here with middle, and there we go. Now that's right in the middle. And that's one of the features I do like about Elementor. I mean, there's so many design things. I mean, if you want to get into website design, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with Elementor. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we're going to make some division sections where we can link our menu to. So to do that, we're going to scroll back up to the top here, and we're going to go over to our grid, and we're going to look for one that's called Anchor. Menu Anchor. And we're going to drag that. We're going to put this one here right below that divider that we added here. You're going to see that it's going to take up some space in this editing view, but when you actually look at the final version of our website, that's not going to show up there. That's just so you can see where it is. And so we want to give this a title. You want to give it a hashtag title, so it's going to be something like hashtag contact. You want to remember what that is because we're going to need to get back to that later. You can always look it up. And we're going to click Update. I'm going to scroll down here to Menu. We're going to do the same thing for the menu. So we're going to click on this. We're going to look for that anchor, menu anchor. I'm going to put that right above the menu. We're going to call this one hashtag menu. Again, we need to remember what these are. So you're the kind of person that needs to write that down, you're going to want to write that down. And then click Update. We're going to scroll down here to above the About and add another anchor. Call this one hashtag About. Click Update. And there we go. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to design our header and we're going to design our footer. We're going to start with the header and we're going to add in those menu links to the different parts of our homepage. So make sure you click the Update button down here to save our changes. And then we're going to exit to the dashboard here. So click up here on the little menu icon on the top left and then click Exit to Dashboard. All right, so in the next part of the video, we're going to be working on the header and the footer of our basic web page here. Okay, so to adjust the header and the footer, what we need to do is go over here to the three bars at the top left here, and we're going to go to the theme builder. We can also get to the theme builder from the WordPress dashboard. Let me just show you that real quick. So we exit to the WordPress dashboard, and then here under templates, we've got theme builder. And the templates, again, is part of Elementor, which is the theme and the page builder that we're using to build this website with. Let's just go back to our home page that we're building here. So we're on the home page here under Pages. I'm going to click Edit with Elementor. And we're going to go to the three bars up here, and we're going to go to Theme Builder. And we're going to click on Header here, and we're going to click Add New. And because this version of Elementor is the Elementor Pro version, we have access to all of their different pre-made headers. And for this website, I like to use this, I think it says Parisian header. So I'm going to click Insert there on that. And you can choose whichever one you want. And the reason why I like this is because for this restaurant, I'm envisioning that we're going to have our logo, we're going to have our menu section, which is what this block here, and then over here on the right, we're going to have our social media icons. And depending on what your restaurant needs are, maybe you do a lot of takeout business, so maybe the most important information for you to have up here is your phone number, for example. But that really just depends on kind of the most important things that you want to communicate right at the top of your website. So we can kind of see how this is going. Let's actually add in our site logo. And so confusingly enough, we don't actually add in our site logo here. That's actually part of the core WordPress. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. First, I'm going to click Publish here to publish this template to our homepage. And it's asking us where we want this template to display. And so for the condition, we're going to do entire site. So it's going to be the header for our entire site. Elementor is a very, very advanced program, as I said before. So you can do lots of different things with it. You can decide which parts of your website you want it to show up on. And I'm just going to go back here to entire site. So to do that, we're going to do save and close because we're just keeping our website really simple here. And let's go back here to the three dots. Let's go to exit to dashboard. And then under appearance, we're going to do customize. And then here under site identity, that's where we're going to add in our logo. And here we also might want to add in the site title. And so the site title should probably be the name of your restaurant in this example. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And for your tagline, this may or may not show up, but it might show up someplace where Google can see it and you can't see it. So I think it's a good idea to fill this in there. And so what I would recommend doing is, again, for this website here, I've got the best tacos in town. So I'm going to write the best tacos in any town, which is the name of the imaginary city that we're building this website for. And you got to put an exclamation point in because, you know, it's exciting. All right, so let's go ahead and select the logo. So the logo size should be 350 by 100. So I've already made a file like that. And again, I've used it with a PNG that's got a clear background. So that way, whatever background we add for our header will work with that. Because if you put just a white background, you're gonna need to make sure that your header has a white background to it. Otherwise, it's gonna look a little bit out of place. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and select my file here. There we go. I'm gonna upload that. And we're just gonna give it some alt text. There we go. And then do select. And then it offers us to crop it, so depending on what the size is. But definitely in the header for this theme and for Elementor in general, usually this sort of longer logo works better. A square logo winds up either being too small or too large for the space. So I find that the 350 by 100 size is a good size. I'm going to crop image. Give it a moment here, and as you can see, it's already shown up here. And when we add in our menu, it should make this a little bit larger. So click Publish at the top to save that setting. We're going to close this. And we're going to go back to, well, we can go back to anywhere. I'm just going to go back to the home page because that's kind of like been our home base for building this. I'm going to click Edit with Elementor. All right, and then we're going to go back to the three dots up here to get to the theme builder. And this is the default name that it gave that header that we created. So I'm going to click on that. And we're going to click on Edit over here on the right. And, oh, we need to build a menu also. I totally forgot about that. Okay, so let's go back and build a menu. So going to go back here to the dashboard. Go to Appearances, Menus. I'm going to select a menu name. I'm just going to call it Main Menu. And we want this menu to display in the header. So we're going to click that, and then we're going to click Create Menu. And I don't recommend clicking this automatically add new top-level pages to this menu. That means every time you make a new page, it's basically going to show up in your menu, and it could make your menu look cluttered or confusing, and you just want to have full control over, especially this menu here. So we're going to do that. We're going to do Create Menu. And we need to use the Custom Links feature here to add in our menu. So since we're linking to the home page here, we just need to use a slash because the base root of our website is just slash. But if we were building this on another page, like say we had an about page, we'd have slash about would be that page name. So you'd want to do slash about slash and then put your hashtag in to link within that page. So we just need to push slash and then hash about for the about section, slash hash menu for the menu section. Oh, and I should be giving this links a name too. And then slash hash contact. And then we're going to call this, the link text here is the actual text that's going to show up for the menu name. So we're going to do contact and click add to menu. Then we'll edit these here so that they actually make sense. So for the navigation menu for this one here, for the menu, I'm just going to type menu. And then for the about, we'll click change the navigation label to about. And then super important is down here at the bottom, we want to click on the save menu. Make sure here Elementor has got their help chat button, so you want to make sure you don't click on this by accident. You want to click on the save menu down here. There we go. Now we've got our menu saved. So now when we go back again to editing our header, which we can go here to Elementor, let's just go back. We can go to templates, theme builder, but let's just go back to our home page because I like going to it from there. I feel like it just keeps things simple and easy. So go back to all pages, go back to edit with Elementor. There we go. Our menu is now showing up. And you can also click edit header from here. One thing I definitely want to do here is make everything here a little bit bigger. I feel like the text here is definitely too small. The logo is a little bit too small, so let's adjust the size of those. So step one here. So I've clicked on the little pencil icon up here in the menu section, and then I'm going to go to style. There's actually a couple things we need to do. I also need to adjust the colors here. So for the typography, we're going to click edit here. We're going to bump up the size to, I'm going to say 25 on this. Ooh, there we go, 25. And we also want to adjust the hover over color because it's a little bit hard to see because it matches the Elementor sort of colors here. But you can see when I hover over the text that the color is this sort of blue color, and then also the line underneath it is also a blue color. So to adjust the color, when we hover over these menu items here, we're going to click on hover. I'm going to change the text color here. I'm going to go back to our global. I'm going to use the primary color. And the pointer color, I'm also going to use the primary color. And let's see how that. So there we go. So now we've adjusted the menu item when we hover over it, as well as the line down below it. All right, there we go. So that takes care of that. Now let's go ahead and edit the logo over here. So we're going to click on the edit button here with a little pencil icon. And then we need to go over here to style, and then width. I'm going to bump the width up to, I'm going to say 300, sort of the max that it's taking up in that space. You can also adjust the size of this by dragging in between here. So there we go. Make it a little bit wider, make it a little bit taller. That looks pretty good. Do want to give some spacing around this menu in general. So I'm going to click on these little grid of dots here in the middle of the header. I'm going to go over here to advanced, and we're going to give some padding here to the top and bottom. So I'm going to check this button here to unlink the values, otherwise it's going to be adding these settings all the way around. Basically what padding and margin does, margin is the space outside of the menu here, and padding is the space inside the menu. Let's go ahead and add in some padding. On the bottom, I want to click the up arrow, so giving some space. So the padding is the space inside the menu area, and the margin is the space outside. So I'm going to do 24 on the bottom, 25 on the bottom, and we'll do 25 on the top too. Just to have some white space around our menu area here. So there we go, that takes care of that. And now let's go and edit the, and actually let's give some padding here to, I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller here. Okay, so let's edit these icons here. So we're going to click on the little pencil over where the icons are. And we're going to decide which icons we want. So I'm going to use the same ones we had before, which is Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Oops. So I'm going to go through the icon library here. I'm going to find YouTube, add that. There we go. That looks good. And then, of course, you want to add in your links. I'm just going to add in a hash for each of these just to make sure everything displays correctly, but you want to add in the links to your actual social media pages. There we go. And now that we're done editing our menu up here, actually, the other thing I'm going to do is center these so they're not off to the right. I think they should be centered in this section here. So to do that for the alignment, I'm going to click center down here at the bottom. There we go. I think that looks good. Then we're going to click update. That's going to save those settings that we made to the header here. And the next thing we need to do is get rid of this sample homepage. What this theme and what WordPress is doing right now is it's basically taking the name of the page and it's automatically putting it on the top of every page. So we don't want that. We just want it to go straight from the header we have to our page. So we need to get rid of that. Okay, so now to get rid of this sample homepage page, which is the page title that is actually the page title for this page in WordPress. Honestly, I had to look this up because I keep forgetting how to do it. But in this theme with this version of Elementor, the way you do it is you go down here to the bottom left corner under Settings, and then we do Hide Page Title. And just something to know that every time you make a page in this way using Elementor Pro with this theme and this configuration, basically, every new page, if you want to hide that page title, you need to click on this every time you make a new page. So we're going to click Update to save that setting. There we go. Now the top of our basic web page here is looking pretty good. So let's go down to the bottom and let's go ahead and edit the footer. So to edit the footer, we're going to go back here again to the three bars at the top left. We're going to go to Theme Builder. And we're going to click on footer here. And we can click this plus icon to add a new footer. We have a bunch of different templates here. I like this template here, so that's what I'm going to use, but you can look at all of these other ones. So you can see a lot of them are very complicated. We've got a lot of different things going on. So I think this one's very basic. We can go ahead and insert it and we can see what it looks like. So we've got Visit Us. We'd love to dance with you. We're going to change that to something else. And Follow Us. So we're going to go ahead and do Insert up here. And we can go ahead and start editing this. So I'm going to keep the Visit Us here. I'm going to change this to Get in Touch. The settings on this are defaulted to have the caps lock on, which you can do here under Style, I believe it is, Typography, and then Transform to uppercase. So if you don't like the fact that it's all uppercase, that's how you would change that. And then we've got the Follow Us, so we're going to leave that here. And then we just need to make sure that we edit all these bottom sections to match our restaurants. And you also want to make sure that you adjust these social icons. And again, you want to make sure that you add in the links to your actual social icons. And then the last thing we want to do is we want to adjust the background color of all of this. So we're going to click on these three dots here, or this little grid of dots up here, and click on Style, and then Color. And then for the background color for this right now, I'm just going to set it to white. So to set it to white, you grab your little circle guy here and you drag it all the way up to the top right. It's also, the code is also FFF, and then you just click. It should stay. Whoops. Come on, get up there. There we go. So we got the code FFF. So we're just going to keep that white right now and just keep everything white to keep it simple. And then we're going to click Publish to save that. Okay, and now if we go back here to our dashboard, go back to pages, all pages, and then we do edit with Elementor. Should have, oops, I guess I did. Okay, so we got to go back and save that header. So we're going to go back to the theme builder here. We need to save that header so that it's there on our whole site. I think I just created it and I didn't actually make it live for our whole site. So let's click on this footer element. Click Edit Conditions here at the bottom, add condition and entire site. And then we'll do save and close. There we go. Now it should be showing on our entire site there. So we'll close this. We'll refresh this page here. And whoops, and there we go. Now the one last thing we want to do is we just want to check to make sure that our menu items are working and that everything looks right. So to check that, I'm going to click on the 3 bars over here, and we're going to click View Page. And now we should be able to click on About. It should take us to the About section, Menu, pop us back up to the menu, and Contact should take us to the Contact section. So now we've got our basic version of our website ready to go, and it's ready to go live. So you can be done right now, or you can continue on and work on the more advanced section. But if you want to take a break right now and you just want to be finished with this for right now and you want to have this go live and be your website, let's see how you do that. And the way I've set this up is so that we can make this go live and then you can take your time and work on the next section later on, but you can have this live ready to go right now. So let's go ahead and set that up. So what we need to do is we need to basically just turn this site lock off. So say we click on this, click on Change Setting. It's taking us back to the main Elementor page here. And so just so you know where to get to this, if you don't click on it that way, if we go back to our websites here, that takes us back to our home page. You can click on these 3 bars here, and we can click on Unlock Site, or we can also go to Manage this website here. And we can go down here to Site Lock, and we can turn it off here. If you haven't verified your email, you'll need to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so I confirmed my email. That should all be ready to go. Now we can turn Site Lock off. You might need to refresh this page. I'm going to go ahead and refresh this page here. And then now we should be able to turn the Site Lock off. All right, unlock the site. So now when you... Okay, so that's the first part of this, and so what that allowed us to do was to go to the Elementor website, so the restaurantatl.elementor.com, but what we need to do is we actually need to get it to go from our domain name that we set up. So in order to do that, we need to change these settings here in Hover, where we have our domain registration. So we're going to click on Connect My Domain, and it's going to give us the information that we need to add into Hover to be able to have this website go live. So we're going to keep this open and either open another window or open another tab, and we'll go over to Hover right now. So we're going to go Sign In, Control Panel, Sign In. Okay, so then to connect our domain name to our website, what we need to do is grab this A record and the CNAME record from where we had it on the Elementor Cloud. And if you get lost doing this, because it can be a little bit confusing, there actually is a really good help file specifically for how to connect your Elementor Pro website to your Hover domain, and that's right here, and I'll link to that down in the description below. What we need to do is we need to go over here to DNS, and we need to remove these A records here. You want to leave the MX record alone, especially if your email is being hosted by Hover, like I suggested in the beginning as a good inexpensive way to get started with email. Just leave that alone. But we're going to go ahead and click Add a Record. It's kind of confusing because we're going to add an A record, but this is add A anyways. Okay, so for the host name, we're going to add in @ and for the IP address, we're going to copy this IP address here from our little Elementor widget. And we're going to paste that in there. And we're going to click Add Record. So here we go. We've got that A record here. We're going to leave the male CNAME record alone, but we're going to add a new CNAME record. So we're going to do Add Record, then type CNAME. We're going to copy this restaurant Elementor Cloud name here. And then under the host name, we're going to type in www. And then the target name, we're going to type in paste. We're going to paste in our URL here from Elementor Cloud that we got from there. So don't paste mine, paste yours in. And we're going to click Add Record. Okay, and so now that is done, and we can close this. Sometimes this happens like within 5 minutes, and your website will be live at your domain name. Sometimes it can take up to 72 hours. You can use that time either to continue building or just patiently wait. And I'm just going to go ahead and look right now and see if mine happen to be set up. Probably not, but let's try. Nope, not ready yet. But when it's ready, it'll show up here. So anytime between, I would say, an hour and 72 hours. And then back over on Elementor.com, you want to click on Next. And then you want to enter in the domain name that you're connecting it to. And you want to do it without the www like it shows here. And we're going to do Connect My Domain. And then here it says, over the next 48 hours, we'll check for your domain. And so basically, the Elementor Pro website here, where we're building our website, is going to keep an eye out for when it's ready. And when it's ready, they're going to send us an email. Go, we click that, and we can see here, these are sort of the progress bars of how far our domain is getting ready. So that's ready to go, and when our site's ready to go live, it will go live. And in the next section of the video here, I'm going to show you exactly how to kind of like spruce up this basic website, make a little bit more of an appealing website, one that kind of shows the character of your restaurant using some images, and also how to create an HTML version of your menu. Let's take care of this last part of building our website, and that is kind of spicing up the, no pun intended, but spicing up the look of our website and making it look a little bit more polished. So to get started with that, we want to go back to editing the homepage we were working on. So click on Pages, and then we want to click on Edit with Elementor. Okay, so in order to save this page as a template, we're going to go over here to the bottom left area, and next to where it says Update, we're going to click on the Save options up here, and we're going to do Save as Template. We're going to call it Restaurant Home, and we're going to call it Restaurant Home, and then click Save. There we go. We've got this. We can preview it, make sure it's what we want. There we go. So we've got our home page that we created there. Now we can close out of this. We can go here back to our dashboard, back to the WordPress dashboard. And we're going to click Add New under Pages. You can also start here from Pages. You can do Add New up here or Add New over here. And I'm just going to call this the Advanced Home Page. So that's the page name, so that when we look for it here under All Pages, it's going to be called Advanced Home Page. And then we're going to click here to do Edit with Elementor. And right now, this is not our home page. That previous home page that we had is the home page. I'm going to show you how to switch it so you can set this to be the new home page. And you don't really have to worry about anybody finding this page here because there's no links to it. The only way that they would be able to access this page is, well, right now it's a draft, but even if you made it, if you saved it and published it, the only way they'd be able to find it is by going to your URL and then knowing to type in advanced-home-page. So there's no real worries about that. We're just going to start working on it here. Okay, and so then to add that template back, we're going to use the little folder icon here. And we're going to go over here to My Templates. And we're going to click on Restaurant Home and insert that. Yes, so we're going to say yes to this and apply that. There we go, and you can see it's loading here. Give it a second. You can see here it's automatically changed that page setting here where we had the title of the page is now gone. And so what we want to do here is we want to add an image to our background to make this, spice it up, make it a little bit fancier. So to do that, on the top left here, we've got this little gray box where it says Edit Column. We're going to click on that. And then under the Style section, we're going to do Background Type, and we're going to click on Classic. And then we're going to add an image here. I'm going to upload a file. I've already selected this file. And which one is it here? The making tortillas. Sort of, this is where you can really give the feel of your restaurant or the emotion that you want your restaurant to convey to people. So the idea that I had behind this restaurant concept was it's sort of like being in Mexico, handmade tortillas, kind of like the, you know, the whole family's part of the restaurant process. And so, you know, we've got maybe the mom or the aunt is in the back making the tortillas. And so that's what we're going to try to show through the pictures that we're going to put in the background of these pages. And just so you have an idea of the size of this image, the dimensions are 2,250 by 1,500. And then I did compress it down quite a bit, so it's only 165 kilobytes. That's something you want to try to aim for, is that smaller image size so that your pages load fast. 165 is a pretty good smaller size. So I'm going to go ahead and add that image in there, and then click upload. And we can add some alt text in here. So making fresh tortillas at the taco shop. And then we're going to do insert media. So there we go. Now we've got that image in the background. Looks a little funny though, so we need to change some settings here. So the position, we want to do center, center. The size, we want to do cover. There we go. Now we've got the full size there. And then repeat, we want no repeat. It shouldn't repeat when it's on cover anyways, but just in case. And then if you wanted the image to stay still and the sort of everything else to scroll around it, kind of that parallax look, you can change this attachment setting, but I'm going to leave that alone. And the next thing we want to do is we want to make the background a little bit darker so that it's not kind of overwhelming everything that we have down here. So in order to do that, we're going to go down here to background overlay. We're going to do background type classic. Do a color. I'm just going to choose a black color, and you can see the overlay is already working there. And we can change the opacity with this slider down here to make it darker or lighter, depending on the image you have and depending on the look that you want. So I'm going to make it a little bit darker, just like that. Make sure that we can read everything clearly. And there we go with that. And now what we want to do is with the text here, we want to edit it and make it a brighter color since the background is now dark. So we're just going to go over here to edit the text. I'm going to go over here to style. And I'm going to use the text color. I'm going to use this button here. Actually, I'm going to go over here and collect the accent color that I chose previously. Do the same thing with the Anytown USA. Go with the accent color. And the same thing with the divider, just to make it nice and clear here. Accent color. And the divider icon also. There we go. So that's looking pretty good here. To go with that sort of darker look that we've created now, I'm also going to change the color of this background to kind of a dark gray. So I'm going to click on the column button up here. Under Style, I'm going to do Background Type Classic, and we're just going to do a color. I actually don't want to, ooh, wait, that's not right. We want to do the whole thing. So you can use Command Z to undo if you make a mistake. And so I actually want to click on the grid up here. And let's change, this will change the background color of everything. You could do each individual column as a different background color if you wanted to, but for this one, to keep it simple, and we'll just make the whole thing a background color. So we're going to do Classic. Make it kind of a darker gray, something like this. There we go. And now we just need to go through and adjust the color of all of the text here so that we can read it clearly. And I'm just going to go ahead here and fast forward as I change the colors for the text on the rest of this section. And if you've been following along here, be sure you change the color of your email address under the Contact Us section so that your customers can read it. There we go, so that's that section. Okay, and then for this menu section, we're going to want to add another image in the background as well as make multiple columns of text for our menu. So let's start by doing the columns of text first. So we're going to delete this section here. I'm just going to right click on it and then do delete. And then we're going to take this intersection and we're going to paste it in right below the menu. We don't want to be above the about, we want to be below the menu, so keep an eye out for that line there. Because when we go through to add the image behind this section, we want to make sure that the menu part is all together. Okay, so here's where we can use the 2-column background idea. So here, instead of selecting this grid here, which is going to give a background to the whole section, both columns, we're going to click on this section here, and we're going to change the background color of these columns here. So we're going to do background type classic. Color we're going to add is our accent color. And we're going to do the same thing on the right-hand side here. There we go. So we've got those 2 colors. And now we can go ahead and use the grid up here, and we can add in our menu headings and build our menu. So we're going to start with a title here. And we're going to go with tacos. And we're going to center this. I'm also going to make the text here black. Use the secondary color. And we want to use H2 tag here because the H1 is sort of the menu, and then down below the menu, the next part of the information is what each menu section is. So we got tacos. But I do want to make this sized a bit bigger. Let's go with 60. Let's go with 60 on that. And now we're going to build our menu. So to build our menu, we're going to go over here to the little grid button here, and this is where we're going to use the price menu, or the price, what is it called? The price list. I'm going to drag the price list in here. We're going to edit the price list items over here on the left. So this is where the price is going to go over here, first item, second item on the list, and so on. So I'll show you how to do the first one here. We edit the title down here, so it's Carnitas Tacos. And then we've got our text over here. And then in the description here, let's also add in some allergy and food preference information. If you have a restaurant and if you can cater to people with allergies or people with different food preferences, putting that information on your menu I think is so important. Because you know people are on their phones looking for where they want to eat and looking to see if the food works for them, or, you know, again, if they're in a group of people, one of those people might be a vegetarian, one of those people might have celiac disease and need to eat gluten-free, whatever it is, the more information you can give about your food and the more accommodating you can be, I think the better it's going to be for your business. We want to make sure we put in that information, and so here to make that kind of stand out, we're going to need to use a little bit of basic HTML code. So we're going to go with the strong tag, that's what this is called. I'll show you how it works. Type in left caret here, right caret, whichever it is, strong, and then you type in what you want it to be, and then you close the brackets. You close this tag so that it doesn't just keep flowing off onto all of the next items. So you put in the caret again, and then you do a slash, and then you do strong again. That's basically telling the computer where to start and where to stop this decoration on the text. And if you wanted to make it italic, we can use the EM tag, and so we can put the EM tag inside of the strong tag. We can do strong caret EM, close it, and then on the other side here, slash EM, and then close that. And now we've got not only bold, but also italic. Okay, so I think you get the idea of how to build this menu. So I'm just gonna go ahead and build the rest of this menu out, and then I'll meet you after I finish that part. After entering in these menu items, I decided there's a couple of style changes that I wanted to make to the menu. So let's go ahead and do that right now. It goes in more, and let me just readjust the size of that. And then I also wanted to adjust some of the colors here too. So let's just go ahead and do that. I'm gonna make just all the colors just our secondary color, including the price. There we go. And just to note here, go back over, whoops, why did that happen? Go back over here to editing this. That you can also move these items around. So if you don't like the order it is, you can change it without having to retype everything all over again. And then if you didn't notice, to add a new item, you just click the Add Item button, and that adds a new item, and then you type in the title, the description, and the price. And there you go, you're off to the races, shall we say. And then again here, I also want the size of everything to be just a little bit larger. So in the typography, I like everything to be kind of at least 18 pixels. So I'm going to make the headline 20 and then make sure that so that's for the typography for the title. Got the price. I think the price looks fine. Description. Just make sure that the size of that is at least 18. There we go. Just want to make sure that when people are on our website, they can read everything really clearly. Let's go back over here to the title again and make the weight a little bit thicker on that so that the title part's a little bit bolder. All right, there we go. And now that we've adjusted these settings and we like them, we don't have to go over here to the grid and add a new price thing. We can actually click on this, do duplicate, and we can duplicate it down here. So we can just drag this over to here. I've got that over there. We can drag this title over there because we've got that the way we want it. Oops, we have to duplicate it first. Go away thing. Okay, right click here, duplicate. Drag this one back over here. There we go. And now we can just add in our new heading and add in our new items here. Delete a few of these. Go here with margaritas. And let's do a little bit of a division here between the first item and the second item. Go and grab our divider, put it here underneath that. There we go. And then I'm going to copy this here and put this down below the divider. And I'm going to copy this title here. And I'm going to drag this below the divider. I'll just call this. And I'm just going to change the titles just to show you how this works. Okay, there we go. And we're going to go ahead and continue styling this. So one of the things is I do want this to have kind of a separated look, so that it's not just one big block of text, but it looks like it's two separate columns. So then in order to separate these two out, we need to click on the gray Edit Column tab. And then on the left-hand side, we need to go to the Advanced tab. And we're going to set the margin around it to 34, and we've got this locked, so it's going to be 34 all the way around. There we go, and we're going to do the same thing here with this column here. Go over here to Advanced, go to Margin, do 34. There we go. And we're going to add some padding around the title here so there's some space around it. Actually, let's add the padding to the column. So click on the gray column tab on the left of the column again. There we go. Let's go 40. Let's go more. Let's go 50. Whoa. There we go. Now it's giving us some blank space around the text here. I think it makes it look a little bit nicer. Do the same thing with this other column over here. Just click on the column. Whoa. Don't forget, you can always hit Control-Z or Command-Z to undo. What did I say, 50? Boom, there we go. So that's looking pretty good. I'm actually really not liking the color that I chose here for the background. It's a little bit too yellow, so I'm going to change that. It's going to go here under Style, Background Type, Color, and let's change that color to a little bit more white, I guess. There we go. So I selected that. I'm just going to copy the color that I selected here. I'm going to put it on the second column over here. So under Style again, Color, I'm going to paste that in down here at the bottom. And make sure you only have one hash there. There we go. And now let's style the background of this whole section by putting a picture behind it. We're going to click on the section up here for Edit Section, and then we're going to go to Style, and we're going to do Background Type. So again, you want to click on this blue box here. That's the section for this whole area here. We're going to click Choose Image, and I'm just going to use this lemon squeezing image again here. Going to insert that. There we go. That looks pretty awesome. And by default, if you're noticing that there's a lot of extra space down here in the bottom, by default, Elementor has it set when you have two columns like this that both columns are going to be equal height, and that's why it looks like that. And I actually think that that looks good in this case here. There is a way to change it, but I don't think that's important for this tutorial. And then the final thing we're going to do here is just make the background of this section here match the background color that we chose here. So to do that, I'm just going to click here and grab this color here. I think I actually want to make this color a little bit lighter though. Let's go like here. So I'm going 2A, 2A, 2A. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go down here to this bottom section here. Again, we're going to click on the top part of this section here, click the grid, go over here to Style, click Background Type, Color, and I'm going to paste that color in here. And you want to make sure you only have one hash. For some reason, okay, that's right. For some reason, I wound up with the About and this other section here as two different sections. Couldn't quite drag it into the right place. So we'll just make both of them the same color. Click on this. Rather than fighting with everything, we don't need to fight with everything. Sometimes you just let it be the way it is. Background type classic. Color. Click on the little color box here. Paste that color in there. Why is it a lighter color? Okay, because the opacity for some reason is set to 0. Opacity we want set to 1. Don't really want that option there, but there we go. And then we'll just go through here and use the lighter color again for the text here. Go to Style, use that global accent color here. Same thing for the icon in the middle. And then same thing for this text box. Go over here to Style, Text Color, we'll use that accent color. And it didn't change because I copied and pasted this text in. So let's just fix that real quick. This is something you probably won't have to worry about unless you're also copying your text from someplace else. Just get rid of all of this stuff here. There we go. And since it also took out the size of the text that I had, I'm just going to fix that to 18 because that's my jam is 18 on this stuff. And then we'll fix, we could actually just copy, maybe we'll just do that. We can copy it or we can just change it. I'm just going to change it. All right, there we go. And this bottom section here, that's not going to show up on your final web page. That's just the space that you have to add a new section if you wanted to add a section. And I think because now we've got this, I still don't like this color. I'm going to use the color that I grabbed a color from my color palette here for this background because I still don't quite like this color. So I'm going to paste that in here. There we go. That's much better. And I'm going to paste this color in here. There we go, that's better. A little bit lighter color. I think that looks nice. And I'm going to put that color here also for the header and the footer. Just a note that we're going to be changing the global header and footer. So on our original homepage, that's going to be changing. But if you've gotten to this point here, you should be ready to make this your final homepage anyways. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. Just go ahead and do that. I'm going to save our changes. Always save changes. Got to do this down here. Remember occasionally to click that publish button. Fortunately, it did save it. Okay, so now we're going to go and change the background color here. And I'm going to paste in that preferred color that I had. Click Update. And let's see if it'll let us do the header from here, or the footer rather from here too. We'll click Edit Footer. And we'll click the little 3 dots up here at the top of the section. Style. And we'll paste that in. There we go. And click Update to save it. And now one thing we want to do now that we're almost all done here is we want to see what this is going to look like on a mobile phone to make sure everything looks the way we expect it to. And I already know that there's something that we're going to need to change, but it's really important to take this last step here, and that is adjust the look of your page on mobile. So let's do that. So to see what your page is going to look like on mobile, we're going to click on this little button down here which says responsive mode. It's kind of a picture of a phone and a computer. I'm going to click on that. And then up here, we've got some controls to look at what it might look like as on a tablet and what it might look like on a phone. I would say the most important thing is what it looks like on a phone. So let's take a look at that. By default, it does make the menu this 3 icons. That's part of that menu template, but I think that that's fine. But what you'll see here is that this section here got a little funky. The margin or the padding, I'm not too sure which, is causing it to not be in the center like it is over here. So we want to fix that. Okay, so to get back to editing, we're going to close this button up here. I think I need to go, oh, I need to click on Edit Page, that's why. So we're going to click on Edit Page up here at the top. Let's go back to Editing Page. Now we're on Edit Page. And click here to Responsive Mode. And then we're going to click on the phone icon. And we're going to scroll down here. And we're going to adjust. Actually, the first thing we can adjust is the size of this font. And if we go over here to Style, Typography, and then you'll see the little phone icon here. That means we're just adjusting the size of what it's going to look like on the phone. So scroll that down to what looks a little bit better. I go, well, actually, you know what? I think it didn't look too bad. I'm going to go with 35, though. And then under Advanced here, we can change the margin to, oops, oh, I'm still on the, let's see, undo. Change the margin on the column section. So we're going to click on the column here. Under Advanced here, see the little phone icon? That means we're just adjusting the way it's going to look like on a phone. Whoops. So we'll make this 20, say. 10? How about 10? We'll make the padding 20 maybe? 30 maybe? Yeah, we'll go for 30. There we go. That's looking pretty nice. And we just need to put the same settings, 10 for the margin, 10 for the padding, down here on the cocktail section. So we click on this column section here. We go to Advanced up here. And we do 10 for the margin, 20 for the padding. There we go. That looks nice. Looks like it all matches. It's going to be easy to read on a phone. And just check everything else. Got the space all the way around. And we'll check what it looks like on a tablet. No problems there. All of that looks good. And then we'll go back to the desktop mode. And if you're working on a smaller computer and you want to make sure it looks good wider also, if you click on this little tab here, it'll hide the controls on the right, and then you can see what it'll look like full screen. And here I see a problem. So that's a good thing that I did that. We need to adjust the size of this picture to cover the full width, or we could also add a black background or a black color behind it. But let's make the whole thing fit. So under Style here, so I clicked on the section up here, under Style, Background Type Classic. What did I do with the column? Oh, the problem is that I did the column instead of the section. So I'm actually going to remove the picture from here. Click on up here the section. And then we're going to add that image in. The tortilla making image. There we go. Set the attachment, set the position to center. And then set the size to cover. Now we widen that out. There we go. Except for that, my background overlay is of the column and not the whole section. So we're going to do Edit Column, Background Type, Background Overlay. We're just going to delete this, which should make it transparent. We can just make it transparent this way here. Okay, and then we'll go back to the section. And then we'll do background overlay down here. And we'll choose a color, something dark. And then we'll set the opacity to where we want it, maybe like that. And let's see that there we go. Fantastic. So that looks good there. Okay, so now we have this finished and it looks good. So we want to make sure we open this back up and we click publish. We click publish. And so now this isn't our home page, but this is our URL / advanced homepage if you followed what I did. So in order to make this our actual homepage, what we need to do is we need to click over here and go to exit dashboard, exit to dashboard. Okay, so in order to do that, we're going to go here to appearances, customize. Then we're going to go over here to homepage settings. And then the homepage is where you set which homepage you want. We're going to click advanced homepage. There we go. And that's the homepage we just created. And then we're going to click on publish. And then we can close this. And then if we click here at the top, we can click visit site. And there we go. Now we've got everything set up, looking good. All right, so now we've got a great looking restaurant website. I hope you've learned a lot about how to create a WordPress website in this tutorial, and that if you're making a restaurant website, you've got your restaurant website up and running. And if you're building some other kind of website, that you've been able to modify this tutorial and put in your content. And I feel like this is a great first step. And now you can take what you've learned here and keep building on it, keep expanding on it, and keep learning more about WordPress and how to build websites. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Definitely share this with anybody else you know who's building a website. And I'll see you guys in the next video.